What's up, friends? Welcome into a Thursday edition of Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Thanks to everybody who's listening live on Facebook, live on YouTube as well. Our technical director is Elijah Schmidt. He's assisted by Trey Myers today, and alongside Dan Courtwright, I am Sean Kellerman, taking you through another full show here on Rock Chalk Sports. Got a great show planned. We're going to hear from Bill Self a little bit later. Here in the opening segment, we are talking the basketball tournament. JHX Hoops, they perished. They fall last night at Memorial Coliseum,
yes, not
Rupp Arena.
I know,
in Lexington, as they made the switch after previous games were at Rupp. They decided to host at Memorial Coliseum, and La Familia got the JHX Hoops team pretty good. It was unfortunately a one-sided affair, so they go to the semifinals, do the KU alums, but they do not advance any further, and the dream of $2 million is over, which is a bummer. It's fun watching them. I'm sure they were wishing that they were playing on Sunday.
Yeah, man, it was fun watching them, you know what I mean? And I think I'm going to look back on this basketball tournament, the basketball tournament, fondly, obviously, with Frank coming back after a year hiatus with the Syracuse team and with Zeke Mayo. And it's actually really cool to see, like, I think Zeke Mayo is weirdly one of the coolest stories because you can see his development really start to grow and start to become a better player than he really was at Kansas. Just the shots weren't falling. It's very, very unfortunate. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It sucks that they go out like this because they were so close. You know what I mean? They were in the Final Four. I guess if that's what you can call it, the semifinals. So close to winning that $2 million. But, hey, you got to regroup and hopefully bring back the remaining squad as well as maybe hopefully some other guys for next year.
Yeah, it was fun, and we're going to break it down here in the opening segment. Next segment, talking a little KU women's basketball. There's been a smattering of news regarding the KU women's basketball program as the schedule for Cancun has been set. Also some news regarding Jalea Davis, and then Kansas hiring a GM.
Yeah,
man, that's big news.
Interesting stuff. Shout out to our Friday guest, Trey Slaughter, for breaking this. He talked to Travis Goff yesterday, I believe, and talking about essentially it's what would amount to a GM. He didn't say necessarily that it is a GM. Travis Goff said he's hiring somebody who's like a GM, which, you know, who's like a GM. A GM. So I don't know. We'll see. But interesting article, and, you know, we'll see. And I actually think this is the right way to do it. I mean, this is, you know, something that we've talked about a number of different times in the past is like Kansas needs somebody like this, just kind of, you know, some more people who can manage different things, whether it's revenue share or, you know, just, you know, some of the money aspect of different things, organizing roster spots, like different things like that. And yeah, they have director of basketball operations and a number of different people kind of up at the top. But this is an interesting kind of move, and I think it's the right move to go forward when you're essentially now a professional basketball team.
KU also got a commit from a class of 2027 guard, a local one at that. So we'll fill you in on that as well for KU women. And then we've got a special guest coming on. We've been talking about having this guest on for quite some time. We've actually had this guest booked for nearly 2 months now. It was July 30th. This is the day that Sasha Boushka was coming on this show to talk about a lot of different things.
Yeah, Sasha Boushka from KGSO, old friend. I used to go on his show on Mondays whenever I was at KVOE, and I was their Monday guest. I was there, Nick Springer. But yeah, a good friend over at KGSO down in Wichita. He was actually also there covering the basketball tournament. So we'll talk a little TBT with him. Does a lot of Wichita State stuff, but, you know, does a lot of NFL stuff as well. So we'll talk to him primarily about the Chiefs, but we'll talk a little bit of TBT as well with Mr. Sasha Boushka.
Yeah, looking forward to that. After that, we've got a fantasy draft. We do this every Thursday, and we are stoked for the one today. More on that a little bit later. We're going to hear from the two-time national champion who has an additional year finishing as the AP #1 overall team, Bill Self. Part 2 of his media availability yesterday at Allen Fieldhouse. We're going to make sure that you get to know everything that Bill Self said. Off-season stuff, he talked TBT, he talked Melvin Council, he talked all sorts of stuff. Of course, this was yesterday, so it was before the JHX Hoops lost last night. So there is a TBT question a little bit later in part 2 of Bill Self that you know, is a little bit dated at this point.
Asked him,
I did ask him that second TBT question. A little bit dated at this point, but still some good insight from Coach Self, as we didn't have any room in yesterday's show. And then we're going to close out the show talking Kansas City Chiefs opponent outlook. We have made it, if you can believe it, to week 10. The Atlanta Football Falcons and the Kansas City Chiefs, right in the middle of that 3-game stretch that the Chiefs cannot afford a loss. They've got an interesting roster. I know that there's a lot of talent on that team, but they haven't been good for a while. So you kind of look at the Falcons as, like I said, a team that you've got to beat. Hey, Crown Automotive, they are our founding partners here at Kansas Nation. Give them a visit on South Iowa in Lawrence if you're local. If you're not local, visit crownautomotive.com. Miles Schneier and his team are the best in the business. They will get you in the vehicle that you need. You're treated with respect over at Crown. Great sales and service staff. And again, an unbelievable line of Toyotas and Volkswagens. They've got a great used lot as well. Crown Automotive on South Iowa here in Lawrence. JHX Hoops falls last night, Daniel, 78-65 in the semifinals of the basketball tournament. Kind of ugly throughout. The big issue, though, was the third quarter because, and we'll get into this as best we can, but a little bit of separation early in this one. La Familia over JHX Hoops. They had the lead early and kind of just hung on to it. It was 37-30 at the break, but then the wheels absolutely fell off in the third quarter. JHX Hoops couldn't fit water if they fell out of a boat. I mean, it looked like they were going to absolutely not score a field goal in that third quarter. They finally eventually did, but 1 for 17, I think it was, in the third quarter for JHX Hoops, and it was a really, really big hole they had to climb themselves out of. They weren't able to do it. They did make it a little bit closer in the fourth quarter and threw a dart at it before La Familia got the Elam-ending game winner. But overall, just not enough offense. Yeah,
I think when you look at the second quarter, they chipped away at it because first quarter was relatively close. It was like 12-10, late in the first quarter. Second quarter, La Familia got a little bit of separation. They wound up getting into the 20s while JHX Hoops was in like a 12, 13-ish area around there. Then JHX Hoops started chipping away at that lead. And all of a sudden, you saw it was like 35-30 and then wound up being 37-30 going into halftime. But you felt like it was a closer game than that. You felt like it was closer than 7 points because JHX Hoops had worked so much to get it back to that point where you go, okay, this is a realistic possibility where they can, close this gap and potentially go forward. And then when you look at the third quarter, 1 for 15 from the field, 0 for 5 from the three-point line, 5 for 8 from the free throw line, 7 points total in the third quarter. Meanwhile, La Familia, they have 21 points. That's just the only word I can describe is unacceptable, right? I mean, you cannot have a quarter like that where just nothing goes for you. And again, it goes like there were open looks that they were getting. Like this JHX Hoop squad, they weren't forcing shots is what it felt like. It's just nothing was really going for them, right? I mean, they were missing bunnies, they were missing layups, they were missing threes. I mean, just all up and down the floor. They were just not getting anything going in that third quarter. And that's when really the separation started to come about, I guess, if you will. Really unfortunate, obviously, if you're this JHX Hoop squad. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was 37-30, and then at the end of the quarter, I'm scrolling down looking at the play-by-play. At the end of the quarter, it was 58-37, right? Where you go into the fourth quarter, you go, okay, well, we know for sure we have, 5 minutes or whatever to try, I guess, to break down this 21-point lead that Kentucky has, and they did an okay job of it, right? I mean, if you look what happened in the fourth quarter, it was 69-53 going into the Elam ending, so they chipped away at it a little bit. It was obviously all of a sudden it was a 16-point lead, and then in the Elam ending, I mean, nobody could hit anything, right? It wasn't even JHX Hoops. It was La Familia too. Like they'd gotten, the target score was 77. They'd gotten to, I think it was 74, and then JHX Hoops kept getting stop after stop after stop. I thought the defense was really good down the stretch, but you could tell those guys were just absolutely beat and couldn't get a lot of stuff going. And yeah, I mean, look at the box score, right? I mean, yes, Frank Mason did have 13 points. He went 4 for 16 from the field. Again, another non-productive shooting performance from him. Zeke Mayo, 12 points, 4 for 14 from the field. Billy Preston, 4 for 14 from the field with 15 points. You had Carlton Bragg come off the bench. He was your most productive, I guess, if you want to say that. He went 3 for 7 from the field, had 9 points. You only had 12 bench points. You need more from your bench guys, right? We didn't even see Tradeon Hollins out there. We didn't even see Kevin Young out there. We saw Andrew Orr for 9 minutes. Mario Chalmers, we saw for 11 minutes, scored 0 points, right? Mario Chalmers was not good in this game whatsoever. So we knew Archie Goodwin was going to be a problem. He winds up at 28 points in this game, 5 for 10 from the 3-point line, 9 for 17 from the field. I mean, he is just a knockdown shooter, a really nice point guard, really scrappy kind of guard that you have. Willie Cauley-Stein was good as well. He had 10 points in this game, and then Darryl Morcell. You also had Chris Coffey come off the bench, who just was unbelievable in this game. He winds up with, he had a big-time block, and then he had a nice putback dunk as well. But they had 6 blocks in this game. They did have 17 turnovers. Meanwhile, JHX Hoops only had 11 turnovers. But the 6 blocks, I think, were really the momentum shifters for this La Familia team. I think every single block that you saw wound up being a bucket scored for this La Familia team. So, again, it's just unfortunate. I mean, like I said, you look at the box score, 30% from the field, 17% from the 3-point line, 78% from the free throw line. I mean, that's just not going to be good enough.
Archie Goodwin, one of many one-and-dones that John Calipari had at Kentucky. He had 14 points per game when he was at Kentucky. He actually only shot 27% from 3 before he went to the NBA draft. He was drafted by the Phoenix Suns and played there for a few years, and he's been playing professional basketball since, but most of it has not been in the NBA. Korean Basketball League is mainly where Archie Goodwin has been playing. He's 31 years old, but man, he's first team all the basketball tournament, hanging 28 points. No other Kentucky player had more than 10. Really efficient, 9 of 17 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3. And yeah, it's just efficiency you didn't see. And look, we're not going to blame the situation of Monday night in Wichita. We're not going to blame the 10-hour bus ride to Lexington on KU struggling from the field, because the fact of the matter is they've struggled from the field ever since this tournament started. But that couldn't have helped. They played late Monday night in Wichita and then got on a bus Tuesday and had a long trip to Lexington. And unfortunately, it was a lot of the same in terms of them missing shots. You mentioned 4 of 16 Mason, 4 of 14 Mayo, 4 of 14 Preston. I mean, just ugly shooting percentages, and they weren't able to get it done. Mason did have 4 steals in this game, which was nice to see. I think as we kind of close the book on this, we look back at what was really a strange TBT, because, it looked like JHX Hoops was going to be on the mat and not coming up when they lost 80-61 to Purple Rain. But they got a win at Lee Arena in Topeka to even the series against K-State. Then they had to go back on the road, which is something we haven't talked about a ton. They're on the road constantly in this thing. So I don't know who makes those decisions on
played
where.
5 games, 4 of them are on the road.
Yeah, I don't know who makes these decisions. And I get it. It's not like it's a packed house. You're not playing at Cameron Indoor, and it's a difficult atmosphere and all that. But still, these guys had to travel a lot, and they didn't play with a pro KU, if you will, fan base. They go to Bramlage Coliseum, and they get the win. Again, emotional. Frank Mason, back-to-back. Elam Enders. Then Wichita, I mean, I'm still kind of shaking my head over what we witnessed at Charles Koch Arena in terms of, the antics off the court with the brawls and, post-game fiasco. It was a total mess, but they grinded it through. 9 players ejected in that game. It was 6-on-6, and the KU team came out on top. Mason gets his 3rd Elam ending in a row, so really exciting, and kind of gave KU fans something to cheer about and kind of filled that void right now when we're deep in the heart of summer and don't have any games going on. So that was fun. And then again, they had to go back on the road, a long bus ride. It's not like they're hopping on a charter and going to play Kentucky like you'll do if you're a Division I basketball team. They have to kind of scrap through it. And shout out to Sharon Collins and Tyshawn Taylor, Jackson Cruz, the coaching staff of JHX Hoops, because they did a lot, particularly after that first loss, to help peel these guys off the mat and to make it, despite the fact that they had to go on the road, despite the fact that they weren't really making shots, to make it this far, because they grinded through for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And I like what you said about the fact that they were on the road for so long, where that just kind of shows you the toughness and the grittiness that this team had. And yeah, you had KU fans out at Bramlage, you had KU fans out in Wichita, and there weren't many KU fans out in Lexington, but still the atmospheres were tough to play in. And, you really liked what you saw out of Zeke Mayo. I thought Zeke Mayo, really kind of came out of his shell and became a better player, learned how to drive, put the ball on the ground, and essentially, make plays where it was virtually impossible for him to make plays, right? I mean, you saw him driving to the basket and putting up shots underneath, right? How often do we see that at Kansas? Not very often, right? Frank Mason, again, I mean, you saw the bones of what is a really good basketball player, just the shots weren't falling. And I think that's really what you can kind of look at on this TBT team and say, man, this is a really well-constructed team, but it's just, I mean, the only way you can describe it is that like all these guys are weirdly in a shooting slump, which is unfortunate, obviously, when you look at it. But yeah, like you said, it was cool to see all these guys back out there. And you and I both had that moment where it's like, oh man, like, Frank had a assist to Mario. Like, how cool was that? Like, that was so much fun to see, these guys that we all grew up watching all on the court together at the same time. And yeah, like you said, I mean, people are starved for this kind of content, right? I mean, I don't think a lot of these guys understand how much they're respected and like how much we view them as like gods here, right? I mean, like, Frank Mason, when he's back, like I talked about it. I asked him about it in a post game. There's 2 different signs at the Washburn game where people said that they named their kids after him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they don't. I think like it's cool for them too to like come back and be like, oh yeah, like I was kind of legendary here. I think it's easy to forget, and people are starved for this. I mean, we're seeing it with the engagement that we're getting on our social media posts. Like, people are starved for this. I mean, Kansas is crazy about basketball. Obviously, that's no surprise to anyone. So yeah, it was so much fun to follow this team around and be able to talk to a lot of these guys after the game too. I mean, did you ever think that you'd be able to talk to Sharon Collins or Mario Chalmers or Frank Mason just, after a game and, kind of be there one-on-one with these guys? I mean, it was a really cool experience for us. It was a cool experience for the fans, and I'm sure it was a cool experience for the players as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it was probably better than we thought it was going to be. Again, they advanced further than they ever have. Of course, they were self-made, they were Mass Street, and now JHX Hoops, and hopefully they continue. We don't really know. I mean, because this is such an off-season type thing. We didn't find out until, a couple weeks before the tournament started that they were doing with this new format. Maybe it was more like 6 or 8 weeks, but still, the new format of fewer teams, 8 alumni, ended up being 6 non-alumni teams, and the first round is the best of 3. What will it be moving forward? Are they going to continue this? How many teams are there going to be? Is it going to go back to straight bracket play of 32 teams maybe? I think that's legitimate, but it does kind of suck that every year you have guys that you think are going to play, and then it doesn't work out. Like Marcus Garrett comes to mind. He played a little bit in that first game, but then signed a professional basketball contract overseas. Yeah. He would have been nice to have. And, you're wondering what could have been, as I'm sure Kentucky is, even though they've advanced this far. They've got a lot of guys. They're like, oh, why isn't this dude playing? Right. Same deal for us. We're thinking, okay, well, how about Devon Dotson? How about Udoka Azubuike? I mean, there's a lot of options of things that could go KU's way if they're able to get some of those guys in, but you just don't know. And again, a lot of these guys, even guys from the 2022 team, you would say that would be awesome if we could get a Mitch Lightfoot, or if you could even get a Jalen Coleman-Lands or somebody like that, to where they're a little bit younger and not playing in the NBA, but still, provide some things that in this type of tournament setting can help. And everybody's going to say that. That's what bums me out, is you don't get the best of the best, right? Like FS1 and everybody, they markets this, as they should, is the Kansas alumni versus the Kentucky alumni, that sort of thing. And Kansas probably, honestly, has more guys who played at KU than a lot of the alumni teams. Right. Jacob Hanna and Andrew Orr, the exceptions, they played at Washburn, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these alumni teams that don't even have guys. I mean, look at Sean McNeil and Daryl Morcell. I mean, those guys didn't play at Kentucky. So it's interesting to me. I don't know who gets to decide it. It's a little bit of a flaky tournament, and it's not exactly as regimented as the NCAA tournament, obviously. But I don't know. It's still fun in the summertime.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it's something for us to talk about definitely during the summertime. And, I think I go back and forth on this because we saw like Tyshawn and Sharon on the bus do a video saying like, hey guys, like if you can support us, that would be amazing, because they're paying for that bus out of pocket. They're paying for their meals out of pocket. Like everything that's involved around this is out of pocket because the money doesn't come unless you win the basketball tournament. That's what makes it worth it. And I totally understand the fact that that's what makes it worth it. But there is a lot of risk involved in terms of, you know, like I understand we talked to Sharon and Tyshawn after the game, and they were like, oh, hey, you know, we reached out to Udoka Azubuike. We reached out to Devontae Graham. We reached out to Mitch Lightfoot, like all these guys. And either it's like, A, they don't want to risk the injury because they are playing professionally somewhere, or B, they just don't have the time because they have other things to go out there. But I agree with you. If you can get somebody a little bit younger on this team, because, and this maybe is a bad example, but like Darnell Jackson, what's he going to provide realistically for this Kansas basketball program? I mean, he's 40 years old, right? Doesn't move nearly as well as he used to back in the day. So, yeah, I think if you get some younger guys in there, and, you know, we had talked about like Melvin Council. Now, granted, Melvin Council is suing the NCAA and trying to get another year of eligibility back here at Kansas, and obviously trying to make an NBA roster, right? But there's a number of different guys who are not doing a lot of stuff right now who could potentially come back. And again, they do have support, right? They do have sponsors who cover a lot of their things. But again, a lot of these things, a lot of the hotels, a lot of the buses, a lot of the meals are all coming out of pocket because they don't have that money until they win. The winning is what makes it worth it. And that's why I do like the format, right? But again, when you go back to what can fix this, I think it has to be solely. Now, granted, I do like Jacob Hanna. He's obviously, I mean, Bill Self even said it. He's probably been one of the best players, at least one of the most fun players to watch in this basketball tournament. He didn't even play at the University of Kansas, but I think you make it all alumni centric.
Maybe you have like 2 roster spots of guys who didn't appear in a game.
Which, granted, Kansas did have, or JHX Hoops did have 4. They had DJ Burns, who we didn't even see on the bench at all because he was injured and just wound up just not playing. And you had Tredeon Hollins, who you saw in the first game, and I don't know if you saw him in any other games as well. So, yeah, Kansas technically did have 4. 2 of them really played, and one of them was really an impact guy with Andrew Orr getting 7-ish minutes a game, just kind of that backup big guy that you would put in whenever Carlton Bragg and Billy Preston and Jamari Traylor would get a little tired, just kind of a rotational piece, not really an impact kind of player. So, yeah, I think you make it alumni-centric. I think you, and, you know, again, shout out to Heartfire and Gotham City and the Mecca, but, like,
guys who live for this.
Yeah, those guys live for this, but get rid of those teams. I mean, the moneymaker is the alumni because people, again, are starved for stuff like this. Like, we love watching Frank Mason play basketball. Even if he does go 1 for 16 from the field or whatever, who cares, right? It's still fun watching Frank Mason. It's still fun watching Mario Chalmers and Zeke Mayo and guys like this. And it would be fun to see them make a little bit farther of a run. But, I mean, there's 2 really big holes that I think when you can look at this JHX Hoops roster, it's number 1, there's not enough youth on the roster, and number 2, they don't have enough big men, right? If you get Udoka Azubuike in there, we talked about this off air at the Wichita State. If you get Udoka Azubuike in there, there's no chance they're losing any game. There's no chance they're winning a game by less than 10 every single time because Udoka Azubuike would just dominate the entire time. I'll even throw like Mitch Lightfoot in there. I think he would be an excellent addition as well. So, yeah, it's just, you know, unfortunate. You had good guard play, but the shots weren't falling, and, you know, winds up. And you don't want to say a waste, right? You don't want to say that because it was fun, and I'm sure these guys had a good time and putting on that jersey again and playing in front of the crowd. But at the same time, these guys didn't get any money, and so that's why you almost feel like it was a waste.
Yeah, it sucks. I talked about that. Man. I mean, if you are in a big tournament field, maybe something for making the semifinals, making the finals. But yeah, it does suck. I mean, but that's the reality of these tournaments. And once you got to this point of the tournament, it's single elimination. Just like the NCAA tournament, there's only one team that's happy at the end. So these guys have all experienced that, so they know it. But yeah, it was fun to talk about this summer. The basketball tournament will continue. La Familia onto the championship game, and that'll be in Lexington as they take on the winner of the non-alumni side. Hey, after this, though, we're talking KU women's basketball. Got some news regarding Jalea Davis. Cancun Challenge schedule is set as well. That's all coming up next on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com. You know the feeling. The field house gets loud, the chant starts low, and the Jayhawks bring the energy. That's Lawrence. Meritrust Credit Union thinks your money deserves that same feeling. A team in your corner that's pulling for you, win or lose, season after season. Financial well-being isn't just something they offer, it's why they exist. First car, first home, first business, whatever's next in your money story, they are right around the corner at 6th and Wakarusa in West Lawrence. Real people making real decisions locally. Meritrust Credit Union is the official financial well-being partner of Kansas Athletics. Stop by the branch or visit meritrust.org, federally insured by the NCUA. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright back with you here in the Kansas Nation studio. We're talking a little KU women's basketball as there's been, as I said in the open, a smattering of news regarding the KU women's team. And we're going to start with the Cancun Challenge. The schedule has been officially set, so get these dates on your calendar. Thursday, November 26th. You might know that as Turkey Day for those of you who celebrate.
Is that Thanksgiving?
It is. I'll let you Google it. You can ask.
Okay.
You can ask
I'll
the
take your word
interweb
for it.
Thursday, November 26th, KU will take on Washington State at 3 p.m. And then Friday, November 27th, they're going to take on Miami of Ohio at 5:30 p.m. Central. This is going to be at the Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya, which is all inclusive. I would like to go, if I'm being completely honest.
I did not drive by it. I don't know where it's at. I did go to an all-inclusive this year in Cancun.
If something says all-inclusive and it's in Mexico, I want to go.
You should.
I should.
Have you? You've been to an all-inclusive before, right?
I went
but
to
not in Mexico.
I went to an all-inclusive in Aruba, but it was kind of like a TMU version. I mean, it was not like legitimate. Did you see that thing about? Did you see the comment where somebody said that? Jacob Hanna is a TMU Stephon Diggs.
I did.
I mean, and then I was like, that's who he looks like.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He does look like him. But anyway,
Rude.
This seems like an awesome holiday weekend. And, obviously we'll let you know how it goes for the Birds. But yeah, 8 non-con games at Allen Fieldhouse for the Kansas women. November 3rd is a Tuesday against Omaha. That is the first game of the season. And then KU's going to play a bunch of other neutral site contests. They'll take on Nebraska at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, and then they'll take on South Dakota State at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. But, this is one that I'm sure the ladies are really looking forward to, going down to Mexico. And, they're going to face a couple teams who are respected programs. So that schedule's set 3 o'clock on Thanksgiving, 5:30 Black Friday.
Did Washington State win the Pac-12 last year?
I don't know. I don't know. You did that thing again where you asked me, and I don't know.
The Pac-2. I mean, it's really a 50-50 shot if they won the Pac-12 or not.
It is.
So I don't know if they did.
You can ask the World Wide Web. You know what? I'll take care of that for you.
Go ahead
you keep talking.
That. No, this is going to be a ton of fun, and now we know what the schedule is essentially going to look like for this KU women's basketball program. Obviously, starting off with an exhibition against Northeastern State, which weirdly enough is not going to be late night in the fog. Actually, late night in the fog is going to be October 29th against Washburn, which is again just going to be really interesting with the way that I don't know if I love that or not. I'm kind of with you. I feel like they got a little bit of the short end of the stick because I'm looking up the schedule right now because it wasn't loading for me. There it is. So you get Washburn October 29th. It's weird because it's A, not going to be their first game, and B, like, I think when you couple the men's and the women's together, I think it's good for exposure for the women's team. And I really hope people show up for this KU versus Washburn exhibition for late night in the fog. I'm going to be there. I mean, it should be a ton of fun. But I like it when they're coupled together. Again, you should do a double header. They used to do double headers, like back in the day. My dad said that he used to camp out for KU men's basketball games back when he was in college, and he would go to the women's games beforehand and watch Lynette Woodard, right? I mean, that's just like what they did, and they've kind of went away from that, and they've gotten on their own schedules where women actually play on like Sunday and Wednesday now. Men usually play Saturday, Tuesday, all depending obviously on schedules and big Mondays and different things like that. I'm not crazy about it, but we officially know the roster. Like I said, after the 2 MIAA opponents, you get Omaha, Drake, or Roberts all at home, essentially 3 bye games. Then you have the Market Beat Invitational against Nebraska and Minnesota. That's going to be up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and then Minnesota. You're playing also on the Market Beat Invitational, but you're playing that in Minneapolis at the barn. So that should be a bunch of fun. Minnesota, by the way, they're going to want to get KU's number just because KU clocked them last year when Minnesota was on the verge of being a top 25 team. You get South Dakota State again in the 28.5 Hoops Invitational. That's going to be at T-Mobile Center. That should be a bunch of fun. Washington State, Miami of Ohio in the Cancun Challenge. Then after that, you get the Zoe Canfield revenge game. Technically not, because Zoe Canfield's no longer there, but she's going to be at Missouri State. It's going to be Missouri State coming into Allen Fieldhouse. Now she's at Oklahoma State. Kansas City, North Dakota State. You have Northwestern coming into town and Lindenwood too. So essentially, you don't want to say a lot of bye games, but you do have a lot of bye games, right? The two that you can realistically see being close games is going to be against Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Nebraska in Sioux Falls. They're, obviously a Big Ten team, going to be a nice team once again, right? Washington State and Miami, Ohio. Those are two respectable programs. North Dakota State, you look at, I believe Jory Collins is still there. So, we'll see how that one kind of shakes out. And then Northwestern, again, another Big Ten team. A lot of Big Ten flavor in the non-con for this Kansas women's team. So, again, you look at how good the non-con was for Kansas last year, where I want to say they lost 2, maybe 3 games in the non-conference last year, and you thought, okay, this team really has what it takes. Then conference play rolls around, and they just kept losing heartbreaker after heartbreaker, and you weren't getting enough productivity out of the non-two heads of the snake, and Jalea Davis and Samaya Nichols. Both of those ladies were so good, but you weren't getting the shooting from Elle Evans. Libby Fandel didn't pan out to be what we thought she would be, at least in her freshman year. We're expecting a big jump from her freshman year to her sophomore year. You do have Reagan Williams coming back. You also have Sydney Bryant, who's going to be your stalwart down low at the center position. So this team is going to be shaping up to be good. And again, when I look at this non-conference, I'm going to go ahead and say this because it's not out of the realm of possibility that Kansas can go undefeated right now in terms of their non-conference.
Yeah, it's hard to know because so much roster turnover, but on paper, yes, that Minnesota game looks like it'll be the most difficult. To answer your question, no, Washington State did not win the Pac-12 as they went 6-12 in the West Coast Conference, and Oregon State went 13-5. So Oregon State would be the Pac-12 champion of the two of them, the Pac-2 champion.
Pac-2.
Sorry. Other news regarding
second place.
Other news regarding Kansas women's basketball. Kansas forward Jalea Davis was selected as the Kansas City Sports Commission Sportswoman of the Year. This just came out a little bit earlier today. It's one of 7 that's going to be presented at the Kansas City Sports Awards on August 26th. She's the second Jayhawk to be named Sportswoman of the Year. Joining volleyball standout Cassie Waite, shout out, one of my all-time favorites. She might not be on my Mount Rushmore of favorite KU athletes, but she's up there. She was one of my favorites when I covered KU volleyball about 10 years ago or so. The Sportswoman of the Year is given to a local athlete who is currently participating in amateur, high school, or collegiate or professional sports while exemplifying all the positive aspects of sport and has made a demonstrable impact on the Kansas City community. Well, let's look at what Davis did on the floor last year. And again, this is just as a freshman, and this is why we are so bullish on the Kansas women's basketball heading into next season. 19.8 points and 6.5 rebounds per game for Jalea Davis. I think it was 8 consecutive Big 12 Freshman of the Week. No, I'm sorry, 9 consecutive Big 12 Freshman of the Week. She was second in the league in scoring during Big 12 play at 21.5 and also led the league in shooting at 63.6% from the field. Of course, she came to Kansas as a McDonald's All-American. She came over, having grown up in Overland Park, a huge get for Coach Brandon, and one of the most talented players in the country. So we're not just saying, oh, we really like these 2 players. It starts with them. But these are 2 of the best players in the country that the Kansas women have, and Jalea Davis and Samaya Nichols. But again, this piece of news specifically is about what Jalea has done on and off the court, exemplifying positive aspects of sport, making an impact in the Kansas City community. Again, she'll be recognized Wednesday, August 26th at the Muehlebach Tower of the Kansas City Marriott. That's going to be a 5:30 reception, followed by dinner and the awards program, which will be at 7. Again, this is somebody that after a disappointing season last year, Dan, you and I talked on air about the importance of keeping Samaya Nichols and Jalea Davis.
Yeah.
These are real players. Kansas women's basketball, as we've said many times, they need to be in the top 25. They have a player who's going to be a sophomore in Jalea Davis. She's going to be better than she was as a freshman. That's a scary thought for Kansas opponents in the Big 12. They need to find a way to put it together. This is a vital year for Coach Brandon and a vital year for the Kansas women's program. They need to be in the NCAA tournament. They need to be a relatively high seed in the NCAA tournament. And when you have the talent of Davis and Nichols, you should be there. Other pieces have to come together. They're bringing in a talented freshman class, very talented freshman class, a very talented transfer class. But it all starts with those two. Hopefully a healthy season for Kansas women's basketball. And if that happens, then all indications are they're going to be a national contender.
Yeah, and with Jalea Davis and what she has done, I mean, just not only for the University of Kansas, but like for the Kansas City area, I mean, it's so cool to see, and it feels like she's been asked this question 1,000 times, but I've asked her probably like 5 times, like, hey, how cool is it to play for Kansas when you came from Overland Park? You're just minutes away from your hometown. She takes so much pride in it. You know what I mean? So that's why this is such a cool award, the KC Sports Commission Sportswoman of the Year, is because she does take so much pride in being from this area and keeping that talent here, right? And we talked for a number of different times on this show about back in the day, if you had a Kansas athlete, at least in the football aspect of it, they were going to Kansas State or they were going elsewhere. You look at the Xavier Kellys, the Isaiah Simmons of the world, wind up going to, Clemson. Isaiah Loudermilk goes to Wisconsin, now plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? I mean, there's a ton of, you can go back to like Barry Sanders when he went to Oklahoma State, right? The retention of Kansas athletes in high school, making sure that they come to the University of Kansas is so important. And Jalea Davis and Samaya Nichols, right? And even Sanaya Copeland. And there's so many great young women's basketball players who have joined this Kansas women's basketball program from the Kansas City area, from the Kansas area in general, right? Mariah Noel comes to mind where, she's from Salina, I believe. So it's so cool to see, or is it Mariah Noel? Yeah, it was Bonner Springs. That's right, Bonner Springs. So she's from Bonner Springs, so also the Kansas City area. So, again, when you look at the retention of athletes here in Kansas, bringing them into the University of Kansas, I think that's so important. So, again, Jalea Davis, and you said it, it's a scary thought to think that she's going to get better because 19.8 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game as a freshman, only going to get better as a sophomore, right? That's, to me, screams All-American potential, right? And with Samaya Nichols, you talk about another All-American, All-Big 12, 3-time, All-Big 12 selection in Samaya Nichols. She's coming back with a vengeance this year. She technically does get another year of eligibility, but she's projected to go like top 5 in a lot of projections in the WNBA draft. And that's legit. Like, she is a legit basketball player, but you need to have, the support around you as well. And I think that Kansas is going to have that with Mariah Noel, with Libby Fandel coming back in year 2, with Reagan Williams being that, sort of secondary option and still going to get a lot of play at that power forward spot. With Sydney Bryant coming in, like, you have what should be a tremendous basketball program. And I think you saw a little bit of it last year. If they're able to close out games this year, it's not crazy to think that this team is going to make a run in the NCAA tournament.
All right, and then the other piece of news regarding Kansas women's basketball, Dan, why don't you break that down?
Yeah, so KU got a commitment from class of 2027. She's 5'8" guard from the Kansas City area. Actually, again, Amelia Prochnow. She plays right now for Missouri Phenom. Originally from Blue Valley, but she's playing in Missouri right now, kind of bounced around some different places. But if you look what she did last year, 20.45 points per game last year for Missouri Phenom, 8.5 rebounds per game as a 5'8" guard. That's really impressive. You look down this stat sheet, and this is an AAU ball, right? This isn't high school ball. This is AAU. You're talking about, in terms of rebounds, she has 1, 2, 3 different 15 rebound games as a 5'8" guard. So this is going to be just yet another tremendous addition, and shout out to Brandon because he does such a good job at recruiting the area and bringing in these highly touted recruits. So love this addition for this. And again, I'm looking at Amelia Prochnow right now as sort of being that 1-for-1 replacement of Samaya Nichols. Big shoes to fill, obviously, projected to be a top 5 pick in the WNBA draft, one of the greatest Kansas women's basketball players of all time. But Kansas is going to need a point guard next year. And Amelia Prochnow, I mean, she's good with the ball in her hands. She's a tremendous scorer. If you look at her, shooting percentages, she winds up shooting 32% from the 3-point line, 38.9% from the field. So, but in terms of volume scoring, she is really, one of those people that you look at an AAU ball and you go, man, she can really put the ball in the hoop.
Yeah, we take a lot of pride here at KU of keeping our local talent here. We've seen the improvement for Kansas football the past couple of years when for 10, 15 years, all the talented guys that were local in the Kansas City area, the Lawrence area even, they were making their way out west. And now it seems like not just for football, but women's basketball as well. And, of course, it's important for our men's basketball program to get guys like Ochai Abaji and Grady Dick, all those guys who are local, at least in the state of Kansas. That's important as well. But, yeah, a lot of news there regarding Kansas women's basketball, so we'll keep you up to date on that. After this, though, we are going to Zoom. We are sending a link right now over to Sasha Boushka. Sasha covered the basketball tournament, and he also talks a lot of Kansas City Chiefs football. We're excited about getting a Chiefs insider on the show here. Rock Chalk Sports continues after this. ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City, KansasNation.com. Thanks to everybody who's watching live on Facebook, live on YouTube as well. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright, rolling you through. And now we are going to be joined on Zoom by a special guest. It's going to be Sasha Boushka from KGSO in Wichita. Real quick, got to tell you about Heinen Outdoor Power Equipment. Check them out online at HeinenOPE.com. That's HeinenOPE.com, or give them a visit, 1795 East 1500 Road in Lawrence. If you're in the market for tractors, trailers, perhaps preparing for the winter, they've got snowmobiles, whatever it is that you need. Whatever they've got for you. Power sport equipment, absolutely. Power sport equipment, Can-Am. I mean, whatever you want, they've got over at Heinen Outdoor Power Equipment. So tell them the guys at Kansas Nation sent you over. All right, Sasha, thanks so much for joining us. We were telling everybody in the opening segment that we've been planning this interview for months. So we are just thrilled that July 30th has finally arrived and we're finally able to get together. But I get to ask the first question, which means I get to ask you the burning question, as you were there at Charles Koch Arena with us on Monday and got to experience, if you will. What was your viewpoint of the honestly full-out brawl that happened between JHX Hoops and the Aftershocks and TBT?
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. It marred what could have been a really exciting night especially in Wichita, right? I think the rivalry between Kansas and Wichita State, it's not really a rivalry because they don't play. It's a lot different than like the KU State's obviously a bigger deal. But here in Wichita, since the schools don't play, fans in Wichita were really looking forward to this night. And you guys were in the building. It was a really electric atmosphere. I think like the second quarter scrum that happened, obviously it changed the game in terms of players getting ejected and all of that, but we could have gotten over that and realized there was a really good atmosphere for some basketball in the middle of July. But then what happened after the game really marred the entire night. And Marcus Keene has to take the lion's share of the blame for that, if not all of it, because he went after Jacob Hanna, and obviously the unfortunate events that unfolded afterwards with a KU staffer getting injured, and then some shocker fans getting into it with Billy Preston. It all just kind of put a damper on what should have been a really fun night for basketball in the state of Kansas.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you said it best. Like, I thought the crowd that we saw there was the best crowd that I've seen at the basketball tournament, right? We went out to Bramlage, Lee Arena, and two incredible crowds. But like in Wichita, TBT is different. I mean, they're going to be hanging a banner for 2025 this upcoming season, obviously, for winning the whole dang thing last year. Obviously, Wichita takes the basketball tournament very, very seriously, but I guess, do you think that the basketball tournament handled this correctly? And are there some adjustments that you think that need to be made in terms of this, or was it just kind of inevitable whenever you get down to six guys on both sides, and there already was a little bit of a scuffle there beforehand? I guess what do you think are some changes that need to be done in terms of the basketball tournament, whatever it is, security, format wise? Your thoughts on that?
I'll start with the aspect of Wichita taking the basketball tournament seriously. it is taken seriously in Wichita, largely because they won it last year. As far as the banner goes, they did hang that at the start of this tournament, and they'll take it down before next season. I'll just clarify
Okay.
that for fans out in other places, because there's a lot of conversation about the banner going into this whole deal. But as far as Wichita taking it seriously, because of the championship last year, I think Wichita really got behind this, and it was already behind it. And I think it's been kind of an excuse for fans to hang on to the golden era of Wichita basketball. Because a lot of these guys playing on the TBT team, they were part of the Greg Marshall era of Wichita basketball. They were just after the guys who went undefeated and the guys who made the Final Four. They're kind of that next iteration of guys that also went to NCAA tournaments. And fans have been longing for that. And to me, it's kind of time to turn the page. But there's a lot of fans in Wichita who don't feel that way. And I'd like to see the fans kind of more embrace the Paul Mills era and the current iteration of Wichita basketball. But because it is taken seriously, the atmosphere can get a little bit more electric, so to speak, in those games. And I think when you look around that arena, there's a lot of KU fans in Wichita, and it was probably about half and half. And it's not like an NCAA tournament game where you've got one fan base in one section of the arena and another fan base in another section of the arena. It was shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, and it created kind of a tinderbox. And I don't think it's something that the TBT was prepared for. And I don't think it's very likely to get an atmosphere like that in the TBT very often, which is why maybe they weren't prepared for it as well as they could be. But when you've got basketball players playing kind of a pseudo pickup tournament, but there's $2 million on the line, it can get chippy in a hurry. And when you add in a really aggressive crowd on both sides that wants to see their team win really bad, you can have what happened the other night. So I just think the TBT probably needs to take a look at security measures in terms of what they can do if they anticipate an atmosphere like that. And I know there was no way that they wouldn't have known that, like, with KU coming to Wichita or KU alumni coming to Wichita, that the fans in Wichita were going to be pretty amped up.
Yeah, that's really well said. Sasha Boushka joining us from KGSO in Wichita, talking fallout of TBT. And, of course, both the Aftershocks and JHX Hoops are eliminated right now. But very interesting getting your insight on that kind of from the Wichita side. Because, yeah, I think everybody, one of those, all right, take a deep breath situations. Everybody kind of was like, all right, that was a little much. Let's, try to do a little damage control here. Because, yeah, KU and Wichita State, they've only played once since 2015 and only twice since 1993. So, yeah, there's still obviously a little bad blood, at least somewhere. There certainly was a Monday night at Koch Arena. Hey, really quick while we got you, you've talked about fans embracing the Paul Mills era. It's been a really good era for Wichita State basketball. You guys had that kind of lull, but 3 years at Wichita State, you go from 15-19 to 19-15 to 24-12. Last year, 13-5 in the American. I think you were the 3 seed in the American Athletic Conference tournament, lost in the NIT quarterfinals, but I'm sure fans there are getting stoked for another year. Just a word on WSU.
Yeah, they made the American Athletic Conference finals last year, and they peaked really well late in the season. So I think there was a lot of hope that they could beat USF in that final game and make a tournament appearance. But it was a crescendo towards this year. And you mentioned it. Paul Mills has won more games every single year. And really, last year was the first year that it was mostly his guys, right? Mostly because he's been really good with retention. And so because of that, he had some holdovers from the Isaac Brown era at the start of his tenure. And people up in the KC and Lawrence area might not know this, but Wichita State's bringing 10 guys back from last year's team.
Wow.
And so they did a great job with retention. They lost a couple of key seniors that graduated, but they got most of the targets they wanted in the transfer portal. The front court is really experienced and mostly guys back from last year. The back court is a couple of new guards, transfers in, but it was exactly the guys they wanted. And there's high hopes in Wichita for the Shockers this year, and I think they'll be picked to win the American heading into the season.
Wow. Yeah, I know that would be massive for Wichita State. And I think college basketball is good when the mid-majors and specifically when Wichita State are good. Now, I didn't like it when they beat us in the NCAA tournament a few years back, but we'll decide to forget that. Hey, Sasha, I mean, just since Wichita is a little bit in the news in terms of the NCAA expansion, and then Wichita was selected to be that arena for the first round of the NCAA tournament. Talk a little bit about that and how cool it is for the city of Wichita and the state of Kansas to be involved in such a thing.
Yeah, it's a cool opportunity to become synonymous with the NCAA tournament like Dayton is with the first four now. And they gave them 2 years of hosting the opening round game. So there'll be 24 teams involved in this now, and Wichita and Dayton will have 12 each. They gave them 2 years of that with the understanding that if those 2 years go really well, it'll become kind of a permanent location like a Dayton. And there was a little bit of talk going around about whether you'd rather have that every year or a first and second round every 5 years or so, like they've been doing so far at Interest Bank Arena. And I think it's an opportunity to become a part of the fabric of the NCAA tournament on a year-to-year basis. So I think it's a really good opportunity for the city of Wichita, and people around here were really excited to get it. There was actually a publication that came out about a year ago that voted Wichita as the best sports host city in the country.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what it was all based on, and it was mostly based on like events that aren't based there. So it's not like the Royals or the Chiefs, but events that come and rotate through. And we beat out like Albuquerque and a few other places for that title, and those were some of the places that we beat out to get this host. And I think that was a big part of them selecting Wichita for this. So people are really excited about that. Hopefully we get an in-state team at some point. They took off the sanctions of like Wichita State would be able to play there if they found themselves in a play-in scenario. Hopefully we never get Kansas, because hopefully they're never like a bubble team that's in that situation. But maybe a K-State at some point. So it should be a lot of fun here in Wichita for that.
No doubt. And do you have any thoughts on the expansion of the NCAA tournament as a whole, going from 68 to 76? Because Dan and I differ on that.
I hate
it might be a little bit skewed now that, Wichita is going to get, all sorts of content from being local and hosting those opening round games. But as a sports fan, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I'll give my honest thoughts, because originally I didn't like it, and I can't just go back on that because Wichita got some games coming their way. I think like the bracket is the fabric of the tournament, and it makes it really hard to fill out a bracket when you've got Sunday selection Sunday and then a whole bunch of games on Tuesday and Wednesday. And what do? Do you actually fill out those games, or do you just fill out the 64 once those games are over? And I just think the NCAA, the bubble hasn't been very strong as of late anyways. And so I don't know that it was necessary to reward a whole nother conglomerate of teams. The other thing is, being from Wichita and being a team that plays outside of the power structure of college basketball, I know it's just going to be the 11th and 12th place teams from the Big Ten and the SEC and the 10th place team from the Big 12. It's just going to be more power conference teams that couldn't go 500 in their own league. And so for me, aside from the fact that it's going to be a boon for the city of Wichita, which I am excited about, I originally wasn't a fan of the expansion.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now I feel vindicated, because Sean loves just more basketball games and bigger things. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I don't want to see Auburn and West Virginia, and I don't want to see that.
Don't be tuned into the players era, man, because that's the matchup.
I know. It's college basketball crown and NIT championship. Ooh, big powerhouse. Sasha Boushka from KGSO joins the show. Sasha, let's talk a little Chiefs now. Obviously, fall camp has started. They're up at St. Joe at Mo West. And Patrick Mahomes is fully cleared. We've seen him out there, throwing some balls. I mean, he looks okay, right? He looks almost like the old Patrick Mahomes that we know and love. He's got a brace on. Do you expect him to go week one, just because he is cleared and he is such a competitor? I guess, what are your thoughts in terms of the Patrick Mahomes injury, and if he should go ahead and start week one?
Yeah, I think like I saw a video come out today of him throwing a pass at camp and then kind of doing his patented jump up and down on both sides moves. So he looks pretty healthy out there. We're still about 6 weeks away from week one. I do anticipate that he'll play week one, right? The fact that he was fully cleared and able to participate in training camp gave him a big step in that direction. And I think if Mahomes is healthy and he's able to play even at 85 or 90%, as long as there's not a major risk of re-injury that will get less if he waits longer, then I think he'll play week one. Now, if you get in a situation where the doctor says going out on a football field gives you a lot higher percentage chance of getting injured right now than if not, then maybe they err on the side of caution. You look at that opening schedule, right? They've got Denver first, but then three pretty winnable games after that. So if they have to, if he has to sit, if going into this, I said if he had to sit those first 4 weeks and they can go 2-2 and he comes back after the bye, that's okay. But if he's healthy, he's going to play, and Mahomes is as competitive as it gets. So I anticipate he'll play week 1.
Yeah, it's so interesting because the first 4 games are maybe the one part of the schedule that there could be a large, or I guess a wide variety of what the record is because of the Mahomes factor. And also, you got 2 good games against good teams at home, and then you face 2 bad teams, but those are on the road. Then you got a bunch of hard games, and then 3 easy games, and then a bunch of hard games. So be interesting to see how that looks. Regarding the Chiefs, what's your biggest concern heading into the season? Obviously, we know that Rashee Rice has been in the news a lot and not for good things. And, pass catchers have been kind of a problem for the Chiefs in the past. Offensive line at times has been shaky, and there's some shakeups on the defensive side as well. What are you most concerned about heading into 2026?
Yeah, they allocated all of their draft resources pretty much until the later rounds to defense. So I think Spagnuolo should at least be able to kind of keep them status quo on that side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, they kind of put all of their eggs in the bringing Bieniemy back basket. And I'll start with this by saying what's going on with Eric Bieniemy is tragic, and I can't believe, I can't imagine your wife getting shot, but then to find out that your son did it allegedly. Right. And him being back with his family. Well, I'll just say prayers for the Bieniemy family on that side of things. But to spin it forward from a Chiefs perspective, because that's what we do. We talk about sports. They put a lot of stock in Eric Bieniemy being back with the team this year, and we don't have a timeline on when that'll be at this point. So that does concern me as an early training camp story. And then you have the offensive line and wide receiver battles, right? I presume that Jalen Moore is going to be the starting right tackle, but there's talks about Asa Pohl. And so the question is what can they do on the edges, right? Does Josh Simmons and Jalen Moore cut the mustard at left and right tackle? I think they're going to be really strong in the middle again. And that's important, right? Because you don't want Mahomes with pressure in his face if his mobility's limited. In the past, I always kind of had a thought process that maybe they were backwards on the line, because if Mahomes got pressure in his face, he's going to roll out anyways. It's the edge pressure that you needed to stop, and the tackles weren't as good. So I'll watch the offensive line and see how those battles progress, and then do Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy take a step forward? Right. Rashee Rice, it's been suspensions, injuries. When he's been on the field, he's been pretty productive. So can he become I won't even say top 10 wide receiver in the league, but a top half of the league number 1. So a top 20 wide receiver in the league. If he can do that, that's going to help the Chiefs immensely. And can Xavier Worthy become a true threat? And then what do you get from guys like Tyquan Thornton and Cyrus Allen, who they drafted in the 5th round, and Tyquan Thornton coming back from next year? But they didn't add a lot of new pieces on offense, and it's an offense that needed work from last year, regardless of the Mahomes injury. So we'll see how much they can improve on that side of the ball. That's the side I'm most worried about heading into this season.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, didn't add a lot, but they did get a Super Bowl MVP in Kenneth Walker. Yeah. I'm interested to know your thoughts on Kenneth Walker because of the fact that the pass catchers haven't been great. Rashee Rice, obviously in the news, and Xavier Worthy's always dinged up. Travis Kelce is getting a little older. Does it change the way that you think Andy Reid calls plays, just knowing the fact that you have Kenneth Walker on the backfield and knowing the fact that you have a Patrick Mahomes that could potentially be limited in terms of his mobility, right? I mean, what's your outlook, I guess, in terms of the run game and how much that's going to be an impact for this Kansas City Chiefs? Because to me, it's going to be a lot more of an impact than it has been in years past.
Yeah, I hope it does, right? In regards to helping Andy Reid maybe call more runs. I hope it does. And I think Bieniemy's a big run game guy, but Andy Reid's going to call the lion's share of the plays, and he's always struggled with kind of wanting to be 60% pass, 40% run. But Kenneth Walker's a big upgrade there. The way Isaiah Pacheco had looked the last couple of years, there was no explosive plays in the run game, and Kareem Hunt he was good for the 1-yard play, but that was about it. You weren't going to get much more than that out of Kareem Hunt. So Kenneth Walker adds some explosiveness to that run game, which they desperately needed. Maybe Emmett Johnson and Emery DeMercado are upgrades behind him as well in terms of the entire running back room. And so I hope they use their asset that they spent a lot of money to get, and that's the one upgrade that could change the way this offense looks. Because if you get to a point where play action pass actually means something, then maybe Mahomes can get those linebackers up, hit more of those intermediate and deep routes that we used to see him hit all the time. And part of that might be just no respect for the Chiefs run game. Everybody wants to do the too high shell. If you have a run game, that gets a little bit harder to do. And even if they stay in that defense, if the linebackers have no respect for the run, it's harder to hit the Travis Kelce routes in the middle of the field, the Rashee Rice routes in the middle of the field. So the run game could change everything for this offense if Kenneth Walker can produce the way they hope.
And I'm not asking you to have the Chiefs schedule memorized or anything like that, but the bottom line is they drew the NFC West, and despite only winning 6 games last year, the Chiefs have a really difficult schedule. When you look at the schedule kind of holistically, how confident are you that the Chiefs are going to win the NFC West? Because when you look at it, I mean, you're going to the Bills, to the Bengals, to the Rams. You've got home games against the Patriots and Niners, and of course the Broncos and Chargers are on the up and up. You get those two teams 4 times. I mean, could this be a 12-win Kansas City Chiefs team, or is even that going to be too many?
It's tough. I picked them to win 12 when we do a comprehensive coverage series and we pick wins for every NFL team. But admittedly, that was a pretty optimistic viewpoint, right? That's the Chiefs playing the way we've seen them play prior to last year. I guess the saving grace is that Denver and Los Angeles are going to have to play the NFC West as well. Plus, Denver's going to have a first-place schedule, so they're going to get a couple extra tough games in there as well. But you're right. For third-place schedule, it's not as easy as it could be with the NFC West on there. And you go to Seattle and to the Rams, and so that makes it even tougher. And you could look at it that kind of one of two ways. Like, you may have lost to the Rams in Seattle either way, so you might as well go on the road, and at least you get San Francisco and Arizona at home, and you have a better chance to win those two. But when you're the Chiefs, you're trying to win every single game on your schedule. So I think given the fact that all of the schedules in the AFC West are going to be tough, I think 11 or 12 wins is probably enough to win the division. It's just a matter of whether the Chiefs can get there. I know the Broncos won 14 last year. They won a lot of one-score games. It's a little bit like the Chiefs' 15 wins the year before. They added Jalen Waddle. I expect the Broncos to take, even if they don't take a step back on the field, to take a step back in their overall record. And so I'm kind of an eternal optimist. I'm picking the Chiefs to win the division, but it's going to be a pretty good 3-horse race between the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos.
Yeah, really looks that way. September 14th, so we got to wait a little bit longer until week 1. But, of course, preseason football will be here. Minicamp is already here. It's been a lot of fun. Sasha Boushka, KGSO Wichita, really appreciate you coming on, man. We'll have you on again soon to talk Chiefs football. And thanks again for your perspective of TBT.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Anytime. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, you too. That's Sasha Boushka joining us via Zoom here on Rock Chalk Sports. After this, we're doing a special fantasy draft here on Rock Chalk Sports. KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City. With Jayhawk checking from Central Bank, Jayhawk fans can carry their pride wherever they go with the official Jayhawk debit card. Central Bank is proud to support the traditions and communities that bring people together. As the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, Central Bank is committed to serving Jayhawk fans with banking options designed for real life, on campus, at work, and everywhere in between. Learn more about Jayhawk checking and the exclusive debit card at jayhawkchecking.com. jayhawkchecking.com. Central Bank, the proud community banking partner of the University of Kansas, member FDIC. All right, it's time for our special Thursday fantasy draft, one we've been cooking up for a while, and it's timely as well.
It is timely, and we've been talking about this forever.
Yes, and we're finally able to do it because it's Thursday and it is raining outside.
Can I?
Yes.
I didn't know we were doing this draft until literally Sasha got off.
Neither did I, but you know what? This is one that we're able to get through.
It should be an easy one. All right, I'll go ahead and flip the coin.
We're keeping it simple. We've done summer activities. Yes. We've done Sunday activities. We've never done rainy day activities, which is actually surprising in over 2 years.
Rainy day activities, a draft of rainy day activities. It's been weirdly rainy over the past couple days.
Yeah, I don't like it
too. I'm not crazy about it. It's also not the time of year for it.
Yeah,
typically,
well,
right?
I don't like any time of year that
It
rains,
never
but
really
yes.
rains like late July, early August. At least that's how it feels for me. But anyway, I have the MIAA flipping coin. This is from September 5th, 2019. Emporia State played against Northeastern State. Henry Greenstein brought this up to me, by the way. So he looked up the box score, and apparently, I think I've been wrong this entire time. I don't think
First,
I'm
you were
wrong.
wrong about the date forever.
I was wrong about the date for a long time. But I don't think I'm wrong about this. I think I played in 3 snaps, 2 of them victory formation, but he only shows the on the last drive that there was 1 rush play for negative yards. So, and I think I played in the series before that. So I want to say I might have played 5 snaps.
We need to watch the tape.
That's like an actual college football player.
We need to watch
to
the
play
tape.
5 snaps. 3 snaps is nothing. But if you're talking 5 snaps, like put my name in the rafters, buddy. Okay, that's what I think. I wish I remember. I'm pretty sure it was 3. It could have been 5. Who knows? I just like completely blacked out whenever they told me to go in. I was like, yeah, yes, sir, and I ran and I lined up wrong. Anyway. It's from the only game I ever got meaningful playing time in. I will continue to say this until I go back and I watch the film in my huddle. I played in 3 snaps. 2 of them were victory formation. Sean, I will let you flip it. The MIAA is heads.
I will let you
the
flip it, and I will call it.
I will let you call it.
All right.
You call it every time. You flip it.
No, I'm not.
No, you flip it. I don't want to flip
It's the official MIAA flipping coin. I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, but I don't flip. I flip it every single
No.
time. You always call it. I want to call it.
No.
Let me call it in the air.
No, I don't want to flip it. I'll call.
He's so stubborn.
When we do different coins, when we get to a different coin, which hopefully we never do.
No,
then
we're
will
never
flip
going to
it.
use a different coin.
All right.
This is going to be the only coin we ever use.
Throw the coin.
All right.
Throw the coin. Tails.
It's tails.
Again.
Okay. See, that's why the coin is conspiring against me.
Yeah. At least you're blaming the coin and not me, man. I'm not the one flipping
You're
it.
also conspiring.
As
You wouldn't
you
flip
know.
it. I wanted to call it. You wouldn't
As
flip
know.
it.
All right. I get the first selection here, rainy day activities.
All right.
There's actually a lot of good options here, as you and I have done a deep dive on this. Some days and some weeks, we have a lot of time to appropriately plan for our shows and show prep, and other weeks are busier, and we just kind of have to pull something out from, certain places. So, all right, number 1 overall, rainy day activities, and a lot of good options, but this is one that I don't think you'll take, but it's definitely what I want to do on my rainy day. Plan a tropical trip.
Okay.
Plan a tropical trip.
Does
That's
that
how I
not
want
make
to spend
you
my
like
day.
sad?
It's the only way I can get through a rainy day, man.
So when you talk about planning, are you booking flights and hotels?
You
are you just
checking
skimming
to see if you have money? But yes, you are. You're planning. Yes. So if you have the day available and you're not doing anything,
Okay.
and you're somebody who enjoys sunshine, butterflies, and rainbows like I do, then
Right.
yes, you want to plan a tropical trip so that you raise your spirits a little
That's
bit.
your 1-1 over. There's so many other
like
good
it.
ones. You're not drafting strategically. You're drafting for fit as opposed to best player available.
That's fine. I don't care.
See,
I
and that's-
don't need to beat you in this one.
Are you planning, like when you say plan, I'm curious, because like, is it like when I look at Zillow just like for funsies?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because like I'm not in the market to buy a house.
For sure.
We own
but
a
you
house
can,
right
you
now.
can do a decent amount of planning. You can put some time into that.
Sure.
All sorts of, not just looking at potential
Okay.
properties, but activities you can do.
Okay.
Yeah. Deep dive into weather so that you don't end up with
Ooh,
rainy days.
There's snorkeling here. I
Yeah.
get it.
You never know. But plan a tropical trip because, that'll bring up your spirits. Because the number one thing that happens when it's rainy outside is I'm sad. And when
Yeah.
I think about the excitement of a trip, then yes, that raises my spirits.
Okay. All right. So I have 2 back-to-back here because Sean biffed that one.
Not true.
I'm going to go ahead and take my 1-1 overall, which I really like. I'm going to go ahead and say a Harry Potter movie marathon.
Movie marathon was on mine. Not
Yeah.
Harry Potter, but yeah.
Have you seen the Harry Potter movies?
I have seen some of them, amazingly, which is surprising. right?
It's very gloomy and gray and rainy day. Like, I'm not like the biggest Harry Potter guy, but like when it's rainy outside, I just get in a mood. And
Yeah.
it reminds me of fall, too. Like, the Harry Potter movies do remind me of fall.
Okay.
So there is that. So that's why I do like that. And whenever rainy days remind me of fall. Like whenever I think of a rainy day, I don't think July 30th. You know what I mean? So I'm going with a Harry Potter movie marathon for mine. That's a classic rainy day activity. You just plop down on the couch at 9:30. You put on Sorcerer's Stone. You know, you take a little break to eat lunch. Come back. You're probably right around an hour or two of Goblet of Fire. Huh?
You don't eat lunch in front of the TV?
No, I do, but you have to make lunch.
That's true.
Which leads me to my number 2.
Get those Hot Pockets in the microwave and get after it.
You've only seen some of the Harry Potter?
and it's been forever. I could not tell you which movie it was. Couldn't tell you any specifics. I still don't really know what happens in Harry
terms
Potter.
of movie series. Have you ever like watched an actual series of movies? You haven't seen like the Indiana Jones movies, right?
I've seen both of the Sandlots. I have seen the first 3 Toy Stories.
Okay, that's good. Sure.
I have seen half of the animated version of Lord of the Rings.
Weird one. Okay. You haven't seen like the actual ones?
No. I don't really understand what happens in Harry Potter, and I don't really understand what happens in Lord of the Rings. But I know that those were huge growing up.
Yeah, I
don't have any idea.
I know I've watched all the Lord of the Rings movies. Couldn't tell you what happens.
Yeah.
And that's like maybe I'm just not retaining it. Maybe that's a me problem.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah, they're bad movies. Yeah, historically, I think they're all in like the top 10 of IMDb's top 200 movies of all time. Okay, my number 2 again leads me to when we talked about lunch. Cooking something in a crock pot.
Crock pot
meals. Like
Give me some specifics.
Like throw some
anything but roast, man. ABR.
So it doesn't even have to be a roast.
Okay, not a roast.
That is weird. You don't like roast,
No.
which that's like a classic rainy day fall meal.
Yeah,
but
depressing.
like a steak and potatoes and like beef broth and carrots, which I guess kind of
That
is
is
a roast.
almost exactly the same as roast.
Okay, but or like a potato soup.
Yes. A soup I'm on board with.
Or some kind of stew, if you will, a stew of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
A crock pot meal is a classic rainy day thing where it's just you throw it in there, you leave it for 3 hours while you're watching your Harry Potter, and then 5 o'clock rolls around and you have your stew.
Yeah.
Or your steak and potatoes.
I don't hate it.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. That's good.
What else? You're
off to a good start. This is the best you've ever done. The first 2 picks of the draft.
I'm aware, and I've had little to no preparation.
So you
time
know
as
how
well.
to kind of sloth around and not do anything.
What are some?
What
are some other good crock pot meals? Like cheesy potatoes.
We do this. This
good.
one sounds weird, but my sister. This is a good.
Chicken
you and Piper
pasta.
should do this. So get chicken. It's got to be smart chicken.
Smart chicken.
Because I don't know, for some reason it gets more tender.
I like to eat dumb
But
chicken.
get chicken breasts and get sweet potatoes. What you do is you put the chicken breast in the crock pot, and then you put a jar of salsa or a half a jar of salsa. Just cover the chicken with salsa, and then you put in like half a jar of jalapenos, and you cook that to 165 or whatever, 3 hours.
Sounds great.
Then you brush the sweet potatoes with olive oil.
Ooh.
Well, you stick them with a fork first to make sure the oil gets in there. Brush them with olive oil and sea salt. Throw those in the air fryer at 400 for 45 minutes.
Well, let me write this down.
Yes. Then you get the sweet potatoes out.
Good.
You shred the chicken, and it's got the salsa and it's got the jalapenos on there.
Okay.
You put the sweet potato on a plate. You put the shredded chicken on top of the sweet potato. Throw some cheese on there if you want. It's delicious. There you go. There's your idea.
I have it written down.
Okay, good.
It's right there.
Perfect. Now you know what to do.
Perfect. That does sound good. That does sound
that's
good.
a good crock pot.
Yeah.
Good crock pot meal.
That's a good crock pot meal. We had a crock pot meal last night.
Yeah.
It was steak and potatoes.
How about that?
It was great.
That's crazy. And it was rainy, if I'm not mistaken.
It
All right,
was.
next up for me on our draft of rainy day activities, similar but different. Give me baking cookies.
Yeah, baking
It has
cookies,
to be
that's
up there,
good.
right? What's your go-to cookie?
This is gonna be boring. Chocolate chip.
That is boring. But
like
I like M&M. I like M&M.
I love the pre-made like Nestle, like the ones you tear up and you can like just eat it off on the roll. I love those. Like the cookie dough.
Like edible cookie dough?
Yeah. Well, maybe sometimes it's not edible, but
Interesting. That's your snack.
like I love like I understand, like, oh, homemade cookies are the best. Oh, just like my grandma used to make. Sometimes I just want just the $2.50 one that you can get, and it's just at a grocery store. It's in the yellow roll, and then you rip it off and you throw it on a pan. I like those. They're good. There's nothing wrong with them.
I don't see any problem with that. I do like a good chocolate chip cookie, but it's got to be soft and buttery.
What's your go-to cookie then?
M&M. I like the little.
That's just
the little crunch.
That's just candy coated chocolate chip cookies.
The little candy coated crunch.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
It's pretty much the same thing.
It's not the same.
What
thing,
is an M&M? What makes an M&M different than a chocolate chip? It's candy.
I can't think of a single thing that would make it different.
Yeah, it's colorful.
Perhaps the fact that it's candy coated.
Yeah, but it's essentially just a chocolate chip.
All right, here's what I'm going with.
Covered in a thing.
Here's what I'm going with on my next selection, and you're gonna hate this because this is the last thing you would do on a rainy day: a sweaty indoor workout.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so we're on the same page there. So there are options. You and I have talked about P90X before, but you can get nice if you're going to be cooking up
VHS tape.
If you're going to be putting together a couple batches of cookies, it wouldn't be a bad idea
to work it off.
Sure.
Do
Word of advice: do the workout first. Yeah. You don't want a belly full of cookies.
Do you do your P90X in the living room?
I haven't done P90X in a while, so right now I do it nowhere.
What are you, more of a Tybo guy? What are you?
I don't. I haven't done an indoor workout in a while. I mean, not enough sweaty workouts. But you know what? It'll help your attitude. It'll help your mood. You're bummed about being outside. Otherwise, you're going to lay around all day. So get a little quick workout in.
I don't want to work out in my house. That's crazy.
Get a little workout in.
That's crazy. I'm not going to work out in my house.
I bet Piper backs me up on that. She
doesn't like working out at the house either. That's why we have a gym membership.
Okay, well, you're not driving to the gym. You're more likely to work out at home on a rainy day than drive to the gym.
I'm more likely to not do a damn thing.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying of the two choices. All right, you're up for two. Back to back here.
If I have the two choices between working out at home or working out at the gym, I don't care if there's a tornado outside. I'm driving to the gym.
Really?
I'm not going to work. I don't have space in my house to do a full-on workout.
All right, you're up.
All right, I'm up. All right, for my third pick on rainy day activities, this is actually one that you're probably not going to like. I'm just going to say catch up on chores. Like laundry, dishes, clean the house. I mean, what else are you going to do? You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. I didn't even have that on my list.
Yeah, I know. And I don't feel good about picking it, but I mean, talk about a good locker room guy. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that makes you feel good.
I guess.
You watch the film and you go, you know what? But he does the dirty work.
I would be willing to do that if it's doesn't take up a large portion of my day. Like I can do it like a 20-minute. Maybe if you're maybe
a
if
load
you're
of laundry
while you're baking cookies or something. Okay, before I go back to my movie, I'm gonna do 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Clean the toilet, whatever I need to do.
Sure. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Clean the toilet.
And then you want to wash your hands before you eat the cookies.
Yes, I would certainly hope so. No, I'm more of like laundry and dishes. That's like classic rainy day. You're like, all right, like I've washed.
I don't want to
enough.
do it, but I need to get up and do something.
Yeah, I'm done with the Chamber of Secrets. I guess I'll go and do a load of laundry.
Yeah, fair enough.
Then I'll start Prisoners of Azkaban.
That's fair. It's a fair trade-off.
Yeah, I think, and it's inherently like it's something you just like, all right, well, I've just been rotting on my couch all day and I'm not going to do an at-home workout because that's a crazy thing to do. So then I got to go do laundry
to
make me feel good about myself.
Yes.
What is next? That is a great question. You've given me like zero time to think about anything. I'm just going to say, can I just pick nothing?
No, you can't pick nothing. You gotta have more specifics.
Why? I mean, it's just doing nothing on a rainy day. That's what rainy days are for, to do nothing.
So,
okay, all right.
In the same round, the same snake wrap round, you have catch up on chores and nothing.
There's going to be a lot of rainy days in the year. I can do chores one rainy day and then nothing in the other.
I'll pick one for you.
No. All right, no. Let me do this. I'll expand. Because then, I mean, just like sit on the couch.
Okay. You're not laying on the couch? Sit on the couch.
I'll lay on the couch. I'll have a blanket on me, and I'll be watching.
Lay on the couch with blanket.
Movies.
Perfect.
Lay on the couch.
Cozy up with a blanket. That was on mine.
Cozy up with a blanket.
That was on mine.
Yeah, cozy up with a blanket. That's doing nothing.
The only thing that I know
out.
for certain is not going to be on either of our lists is to read a book.
No.
Like that's
Are you kidding
that's
me?
not even going to be honorable mention.
No.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
All right, now that's back to me.
No,
Thank God, because this gives you some time to think about, something that might be a better option for you. All right, next up for me, draft of rainy day activities. I have plan a tropical trip, baking cookies, and a sweaty indoor workout. This is a great list for me. Daniel has Harry Potter movie marathon, crockpot cooking, catch up on chores, and lay on the couch with a blanket. All right, this is a good draft for you because you haven't had to overthink it. All right, you haven't had to say, "Oh, I've watched a lot of this guy on film," and Dracula would be a great wide receiver. Because you don't have to do that. Just go with what you know.
Okay.
All right, next up for me, and this is going to be something that you can only do if you have a porch, but sit on the porch and watch the rain.
Sit on the porch and watch the rain.
My parents have a porch at their house, screened-in porch, beautiful. Ava loves it. Anytime we go over there, she's like, "Can we go on the porch?" And she wants to play and
Love it.
play with all the dangerous glass out there, glass
Naturally.
bottles and stuff, and water the little plants and all that. But yeah, man, how grab a cup of coffee if you're a coffee drinker
You're not a
and just
coffee
sit
guy.
out there. And I'm not saying me, but you sit out there and you listen to the rain.
I like
That's
that.
the one thing that I have that's actually embracing the rain when I'm otherwise depressed.
I do like that pick. And it is unfortunate because I do not. I used to do this. So at my old house in Emporia, we had a porch with an overhang, and we would do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But at my house now, as you know, I don't have anything that goes over my deck in the back or over
Correct.
my porch in the front. So I can't really do that. I just got to watch it out the window like a sad dog.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But
That is
is a good pick. I do like sitting out in the rain. Just and the smell of rain is so good.
Yes, that's my one embrace the rain thing. All right, and then the other thing I'm going to say, rainy day activity, and this is going to be totally kids related, but build a fort, right? That'd be fun. Build a fort.
Why does it have to be kids related?
Build a fort with the kids. Build a fort with the kids. It'll be fun.
Sure. Okay, I
They'd
like that
enjoy
pick.
it.
No, I think it's a fine pick. But it doesn't have to be limited to just children. Like, what if I wanted to build
That's
a fort?
true. You could.
Would you judge me?
Building a fort, though, it's like you need almost a very specific type of room. Like it has to be a big room. Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of couch cushions.
Yeah, because you have to have a lot of couch, because you have to have a lot of space to where you can actually fit.
Yeah.
Because at my house, which you've seen, like we have multiple rooms, but they're all kind of the same size. Like none of them are necessarily, unless you're talking about like moving couches out the door, which you could do.
Sure.
But you need like a nice big basement,
So
like your friends had in elementary
Are you blanket fort or pillow fort guy?
Usually blanket, but I'm open.
Sure. Okay. Would you go pillows for the base of the wall and then big stick in the middle, blanket over the top?
I would be good with that.
That's classic right there.
It's classic.
Yeah, I get that. You know what's unfortunate? The couch cushions on my couch don't come off.
Ooh.
They're sewn on.
Yeah, that
so
hurts.
my fort building days have been behind me for quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm a little out of the game. I haven't been building forts as often as I would really want
Ridiculous, man.
I know.
Ridiculous.
Isn't that sad? It's horrible. Okay, I got two left, and I went ahead and wrote two of them down. Go ahead and give me take a nap.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great rainy day activity.
Yeah. I'm actually not a big nap guy.
Right.
Because like if I take a nap,
That's the thing.
I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be like, what year is it? Like it just completely messes me up for the rest of the day.
To me, if I take a nap, then I'm not going to be able to fall asleep that night.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
See, I'm like, it just makes me tired and groggy.
Yeah.
And I get kind of grumpy.
Like,
I'm not a grumpy guy, but I get a little grumpy if I take a nap.
Right. I know. Like you have a late night
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh my God, I would give anything to take a nap. Take a little 30-minute cat nap over lunch, but it's like, I can't even do that. I'm like, I might as well just like wear it this day and then just try to make it to 9:30 or 10 and go to bed. But yeah, that's a good one.
Man.
Yeah,
So
one more selection.
I wrote down another one, but you know what sucks is the fact that you already have. I said bake it a dessert. You have baking cookies.
Yep, so you can't go with that
ahead
one.
and veto that one. Oh, man, I might have to do it.
Okay.
I might have to just pander and say the classic rainy day activity: read a book.
What? That's all you've got?
Well, what
You're not going to read a book?
What else is there to do?
Dude, I have 7 left on my list.
That's crazy. That's actually insane. What about okay, no, let me look. Let me look for a sec. I mean, lay in bed. Put on a jazz.
Take a nap and lay in bed are going to be your lessons. I'll go with that.
Put on a jazz record.
Your last three.
Why is that crazy?
Your last 3 picks on rainy day activities were lay in bed, take a
Put on
nap,
little Duke Ellington.
Lay in bed, take a nap, and lay on the couch were your last 3 rainy day activities.
But before that, I'm making up for it because I have chores on there.
You have chores and movie
Read a book on there. Put it in there.
No, I put lay in bed.
Read a book.
All right, my last selection, indoor activities. Come on, man. There's so many options.
I'm putting down read a book.
No, you have lay in bed.
That's not. No, I said read a book first.
All right.
That was the first thing I said. And he's saying no?
Give me puzzles.
That's a classic rainy day activity.
Give me puzzles to close it out.
Puzzles?
Give me puzzles to close it out. All right, puzzles to close it out. And here are, I assume, and this is probably a safe assumption, that you do not have any
because I didn't know we were doing this until 2 minutes beforehand.
Playing board games, great option.
Sure.
Taking my daughter to one of the indoor options. There's indoor mini golf down here, downtown.
So you're going to get in your car.
There's also up and away. Dude, you got to make the most of this.
What's up and away?
Up and away. It's a fun little kids indoor thing.
Sure.
Taking a tour of Allen Fieldhouse. It would be good to do that on a rainy day.
That would be fun to do that on a rainy day.
Because it's not usually as hot in there. If you do want to embrace the rain, going outside and jumping in puddles. I'm surprised you didn't have that on your list.
Yeah.
Jumping in puddles is a great one.
I did back when I was in college. So Emporia is the disc golf capital of the world, as you know. Everybody knows that. We're playing disc golf one day, and it was just pouring rain. Like it started while we were playing, and so we just went, screw it. We put our discs down, and there's this big gully like on the course, and I mean it was probably, I'm not even kidding, probably about 1.5 feet deep, maybe 2 feet of water. Like it was a good amount of water, and the whole we were out there for probably 2 hours just full sprint and then sliding and running and
That's awesome.
Sliding through the water.
Slip and slide?
It was so much fun. A little slip and slide action.
Making the most of it?
Oh,
Yeah.
we were drenched. It was so much fun.
Yep.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, you just got to embrace it sometimes. Going for a walk in the rain if you're appropriately dressed. And then how about this one? Redecorating a room. Or, if you have kids, it's important, they say, to, I can't remember what they call it, basically rearrange where your kids' toys are. So then they're not always in the same place. So a lot of times the kids will see a toy that they knew they've had and they've played before, but it's in a different place, so it feels new to them.
Sure.
Something like that. But I'm big on feng shui. Like I like when I lived at High Point and didn't have a lot of...
I've always said that. You know what? People say, what's Sean like? I say, you know what? He's big on feng shui.
And when people ask me about Dan, I say the one thing about him is he doesn't interrupt. So thank God. I like when I lived at High Point, I would... Not a very big living space.
Yeah.
I would just move around my couch a lot. It just switch it up, man. Put the TV in this corner. But yeah, when you're bored out of your mind on a rainy day, that can be an option.
Okay.
Terrible draft by you.
What do you mean?
I hate to see it, man.
I have read a book. For those of you who don't know,
officially on our rundown, I have lay in bed, take a nap, lay on the couch.
I have the official list.
Weak. Hey,
I have Harry Potter movie marathon, crock-pot meals, ketchup on shorts, nothing, take a nap, and read a book.
I have planned a tropical trip, bake cookies, sweaty indoor workout, sit on the porch and watch the rain, build a fort, and puzzles. That's great. Plus a plethora of honorable mentions. We are going to improve on this show beginning next segment. We're going to hear from the two-time national champion who has an additional year finishing as the AP #1 overall team, Bill Self. He spoke to the media yesterday at Allen Fieldhouse. That's coming up next on Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com. Summertime is made for outdoor fun, even when it's raining outside. If you're like me and you've got kids running through the grass, nothing ruins time outside faster than fleas, ticks, and chiggers. That's why families trust Custom Lawn and Landscape to keep their lawns beautiful and protected all season long. Their home insect control program helps defend your yard from bugs so your pets and loved ones can enjoy the outdoors more comfortably and safely. Right now, when you sign up for the season, your first application is absolutely free, a simple way to take back your backyard this spring and summer. Visit CustomLawn.com to schedule your free first application with Custom Lawn's seasonal insect control program. Custom Lawn and Landscape, helping you love your lawn without the bugs. Hey, right now, we're going to go back to Allen Fieldhouse. This is part 2 of Bill Self yesterday speaking to the media. He touches on a lot of things. Here it is.
I think I read that maybe Davion wasn't completely he is now, what does he bring to you?
I don't think he is 100%. He is a quick twitch, athletic guy. He's had a great summer. More skilled than what we thought. Got to get stronger because we're not very big, so he's going to have to play the 5 some, especially early on. But quick twitch is what we see. You know, he can put his hand above the square, but what made him special is he didn't have to squat to jump, change directions, how you guard a ball screen, a lot of things like that. But I don't think he's quite where he needs to be athletically just because his knee's still bothering him a little bit. But he's going to be fine.
Coach, I know it's a ways out, but with late night in the fog coinciding with the Pitt State game, is that something that's been in conversations in the past, and how does that kind of change the, like I said, how does that change the, I guess the way that you approach late night?
I don't know that we're going to change it. You know, we actually try to play well at late nights. It's actually, you know, you don't say go just jack around. Okay, we're going to try to play the right way, and it never works out that way. I think this late night will probably allow us to not waste a day of practice, which will be good. Also, there's some things that about this late night that's different. There's so many opportunities. There's only a few opportunities where people that don't get a chance to watch us play can come, and hopefully there can be some creative things done in that regard that will make it a special night. But we're not going to take away from interactions. We're not going to take away from half-court shots. We're not going to take away from personality. None of that. Now it'll have to be choreographed in a way that a game is still played, but I think it'll be better this way, and that's something that we've all talked about, trying something new. I really felt like late night at its peak was when we first got here. Late night at its peak was when Wiggs was a freshman, and there's 5,000 people waiting to get in. Late night kind of stalled, and then we had to bring in an act, and then that was great at times and all that stuff. And then, but with budget cuts and everything across all athletic departments, this is a way that I think we can accomplish more of entertainment plus substance. And so I don't think it's going to be a negative. People don't like change a lot of times, including me. This is one change I think will be good.
What's Reeves's timeline?
Same. Should he be ready by season full speed? Absolutely. When he'll be live, full contact, I don't know, Gary, if that's early October or middle October or whenever it'll be, depending if he doesn't have any setbacks. But when he comes back, we're hopeful he's 5-on-0 full speed, just no contact. So he won't be behind in what we're trying to put in or anything like that.
Could you add another big man? There were some reports of a guy from another country.
Yeah, there's a lot of those out there. Yeah, I think we could. I figure one of the first questions is your roster set, and I think the answer is maybe, but we're still looking. And so if we can make ourselves better, then we're certainly going to try to do that. And one of the things that we do want to try to do is, if we have, to get a big, just because of the situation with Christian and depth and all that. So our roster's not set. It may be over, but we're still investigating different opportunities.
Are any players out of action with injuries, and how is your health?
My health, I think, is fine, except I had my knee replaced, and that's been a little bit more challenging than what I actually thought it would be. So that knocked me out a lot, travel and a lot of things like that I haven't been able to do. But my health and everything, I think, is fine. What I'm going through is no different than what a lot of people go through. But it's the rehab hasn't been quite as looking forward to as maybe what some other rehabs are. But I'm in good shape.
When do the players leave, and when do they come back?
They're gone. Players left when school was out last week. I think, what was that, 24, Sean? So the players are gone, and they are basically off for 4 weeks, and then they'll return. When does school start? 22nd, 24th?
24th.
So they'll return like on the 21st. So it's a good break, and one reason why it's a good break, because You asked a good question. I don't know other than Christian, we had 100% participation, everybody going full speed. But with that being said, they were tired. So and bodies aren't used to that. So many young guys, I think it'll be good they got a break.
Finally, for me, as an observer, you're not there, but this TBT team is advancing well, but there was a big fight the other night. What's your take as an observer of it all?
First of all, I mean, those guys are playing their butts off. I mean, they're trying hard. Just to practice a few practices, go out there and try hard, which I know the other teams are doing that too, but I was really proud of them. I thought we were so bad, and you guys were there in Manhattan that first game. I mean, we were awful, and they were better. And the second game, God, we found a way to eke one out. Third game, I mean, it was close, but guys finished. And then the other night was obviously a weird game because of an incident when two guys get tied up, and next thing you know, 7 guys, or how many guys got thrown out? 7 or 9 guys got thrown out. So that was unfortunate. And of course, what happened after the game was ridiculous and totally uncalled for. But I'm really proud of our guys. But we need to lace them up, because they're going to be playing in front of 12,000 people at Memorial Coliseum, and a couple of ex-lottery picks are in the mix and stuff like that. So it should be fun. And I hope like heck that those two little guards, if they can both be on at the same time, I think this team could play with anybody.
With Melvin and this summer for him, did you talk to him, or did he talk to you at any point about the possibility of coming back, or how's that process unfolded, or has it just been sort of him independent and you waiting, or how's that played out?
Well, it's he has a team, he's got agents and everything, and I don't know why there was actually no thinking of this, serious thought of this. I don't even think on his behalf or his agent's behalf, until the ruling in Ohio came down. And then the ruling in hold on now. If them, why not me? I really think Melvin's first choice is, hey, go make a roster. I mean, without question. But the reality of it is I think that he's pursuing all his options, which I think is more than fair to do, just like everybody else is doing. And I hope it works out for him. Whatever's best for him is best. If he was guaranteed a place now, I'd say don't even consider it. You got to go. But depending on how it plays out, we'll see what happens. But I think it goes without saying that he would probably be welcome back from our fan base's standpoint.
When we talked to you 8 weeks ago or whatever, I think you said you didn't really want to play small. Have your feelings changed on playing small at all, having been forced to do it for much of the summer?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, but you say play small, and yeah, we could play small, but guys, that's 6'11", 6'8", 6'8". That's bigger than what we've been playing. So at least in most situations. Last year, we played small with Flory at the 5. He's 6'9". So we'll be bigger than we were last year. But I think in my time here, in a perfect world, I'd like to play bigger, and I'd like to play through the post more. But the reality of it is, I think that this team could be unique enough that playing Dawes and Stokes at the 4 and the 5, who's going to guard the 5, and you put a situation where you put in some, 5-4 ball screens or 1-5 ball screens. Those guys are all capable of coming off and making plays. So I think it'll be fun because the skill level from a ball handling standpoint is different. They're not bigs, even though their standing height is pretty tall.
Another TBT thing for you. I know it's really cool for KU fans seeing different classes of guys, Frank and Mario out there at the same time. What's that like for you? And Sharon and Tyshawn on the sideline too.
It's been great watching them. They practiced here, so we were able to talk to them and that kind of stuff. And of course, it's a makeshift team. The most impressive guy maybe start to finish is, Hannah. He's been a stud. Because he plays the game the right way. He plays to win, regardless of the situation. But those other guys, Billy and Carlton, I mean, those guys, I told Sharon and Ty, I said, you know what? Everybody wants to play to what they do best. But in order for you guys to have a chance to win, those two got to be something that they're not. They got to go guard Beasley. They got to go be big. And I think they've actually done a really good job. So it's been fun to watch. It's also fun to watch. That's not the most productive KU players that's ever played out there, with the exception of Frank, and of course Zeke was productive. But those guys are just trying hard, and I hope this brings interest and motivation to other players that aren't doing anything this summer or have an opportunity to play with this, if they want to come back and play, because to me it looks like they're having fun.
How much did you follow the summer league in the NBA, and just what do you think about what Darren was able to do?
I followed and I watched. I thought he's really good, and then I thought he had his ups and downs too. They played him on the ball basically all the time, which I'm sure that's what they want to look at, and that kind of stuff, which I think is great and good for him. So it was probably a little different for him, but I thought it was good. I get a false. To me, those things are hard to evaluate, because there's many guys that play a certain way in those games that when they get on their real team, they can't play that way because they got other guys that are going to be taking those shots and all that stuff. But I actually thought he looked good, and when he's good, to me, he's the best player, hands down. So I don't think he shot it anything like he's capable of shooting it. But you guys know as well as I do, every time he shoots it, don't you think it's going in? So he's one of those guys. So I thought he did well. I don't think he crushed it, but I certainly think he did everything he was supposed to do.
Anything else? Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
That's Bill Self yesterday at Allen Fieldhouse, touching on a lot of topics there. Melvin Council, TBT, this year's roster, that sort of thing. Interesting, talking about if this roster is complete or not. We've heard a lot of things in the news over the past 6 weeks or so about potential big men who could be joining KU's roster, and who knows, maybe another guard is in the works as well. But as of right now, it sounds like they're happy with the guys they've got, and a lot of talent in that room. I love what Coach said when he was talking about Tay Kenny, Leroy Blyden. He's saying those guys can hoop.
Yeah.
Should be a fun season. And again, I think Kansas is significantly underrated by a lot of the national prognosticators.
Yeah, I certainly think so too. You know what I mean? I understand that the front court's a little thin right now, and Bill Self was asked about, hey, how's the roster looking? Are you done? He said maybe. So we'll certainly see. Obviously, they're monitoring some stuff. We know that they're trying to add some different pieces. But when you look at the backcourt, when you look at all the scoring ability that you have, I mean, it's better than it has been probably over the last 3 years, just because of the fact that you have Leroy Blyden, who's shooting over 40% from the three-point line. You have Colazario coming back and is going to be a different player than he was last year. Tay Kenny can really put the ball through the hoop. He said that about Tay Kenny. Tyron Stokes, I mean, what's interesting about Tyron Stokes is the fact that he is the number one player, but everybody keeps on ranting and raving about his passing ability as well. So when you have guys who are able to knock down shots, and we have Tay Kenny who garners so much attention and has so much gravity on the court, that's going to make it a lot easier for the other guys.
I was pleased that when I asked Coach about the comparison to Devontae, that I wasn't completely off base, because he said, he does see a little bit in him. So, they're similar size, similar skill set. If Leroy Blyden becomes anything like Devontae Graham, then that's going to be good news for everybody.
Yeah.
So looking forward to seeing what he can do here
Absolutely.
At KU. After this, we're going back to our Chiefs opponent outlook as we dive into the Dirty Birds from the Peach State. That's next. ESPN Kansas City, kansasnation.com. Behind the cameras today, Elijah Schmidt and Trey Myers. I want to say thank you to them for getting us on air every day here on Rock Chalk Sports. KansasNation.com is the place to be. Check out our coverage on social media as well, at the Kansas Nation, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Kansas Nation on Facebook, and it's also at the Kansas Nation on YouTube. If you missed anything from the show, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And of course, our other podcasts, part of the Kansas Nation Podcast Network, are on there as well, including Haney and the Hawks. You don't want to miss any of those episodes. Dan, let's dive into the Kansas City Chiefs' next opponent outlook. It is the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons went 8-9 last year in a very bad NFC South. They are projected to get about 7 wins this year. A lot of question marks, particularly at the quarterback position, though they do have some talented guys on both sides.
Yeah, they certainly do. And as of right now, both of their quarterbacks who they're looking at are both injured, right? They got Tua Tagovailoa from the Miami Dolphins for I would say relatively cheap. I would certainly hope. They also have Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. is also dinged up a little bit. Their offensive line, I think, was really kind of what started that because, you know, both those guys, I guess mainly Michael Penix Jr., but also Kirk Cousins were getting rocked last year. So, you know, that was unfortunate for Michael Penix Jr. I do think he's a really good quarterback. Both lefties, I believe. Yeah. So that'll be a lot of fun to see. But yeah, I just hope both of them stay relatively healthy. Obviously not at the expense of the Chiefs, but you know, both of them are okay. I think Michael Penix Jr. should be the one who gets that starting spot. As of right now on the depth chart, they have Tua as the number one guy. I can only imagine that's going to change because I think Michael Penix Jr. is going to be the future of that franchise. I mean, if you look at those skill position players, it's not terrible, right? Bijan Robinson and Brian Robinson as sort of a 1-2 punch, if you will. In that backfield, so you certainly like that. Bijan has been one of the better running backs in the NFL over the last couple of years. They do have Drake London, who has been a really nice piece down the sideline. They did acquire Jahan Dotson, who knows if he can have a little bit of a career resurgence, I guess, with the Atlanta Falcons. But again, I'm not banking on it. The fact that Jahan Dotson will be okay, but he's really going to be their number 2 receiver as of right now. Last year, 262 yards, 1 touchdown, 36 targets, 18 receptions for the Eagles. Oladime Zaccheaus, if you will. You said that he's a parlay killer for you.
It seems like it.
Which is unfortunate.
Seems like it for everybody. Everybody's always wanting London and Pitts to score.
I know. They did draft Zachariah Branch, who I think is going to be a big-time player for them out of Georgia, obviously. I think they got him in the 3rd round. Going to be a really nice player. He's listed on the 2 deep, right behind Drake London, but I would imagine he's going to be, you know, a starter and definitely a primary kind of guy. Kyle Pitts, again. I mean, Kyle Pitts, we talk about him, about how they never really utilized him, but if you look at what he did this past year, he got 928 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's not terrible, and I think he's continuing to be on the up and up. His first year had over 1,000 yards. Then it was 356, 667, 602, and then 928 last year. So I think they're going to continue to utilize him. And they have a new head coach, right? Kevin Stefanski's there, and we know Kevin Stefanski is able to utilize his tight ends and the way that he kind of runs his team. So that'll be interesting to kind of see the way that goes. Also, I am very concerned for the 2 most fragile quarterbacks because Juwan Taylor is their starting right tackle.
Oh, man, that's not a match made in heaven.
No, it certainly is not. Their defense was good last year. James Pierce really was a rock star, 10.5 sacks last year in his rookie year, only going to continue to get better. They got a safety out of Clemson this past year. They do have Jesse Bates III still, by the way, who, again, is a really nice safety. So, yeah, I mean, I think their defense is fine. Not a lot of great stuff up front, but they have a good sort of middle linebacker kind of core and then some nice pieces around the outside. I don't expect this to be a hard game for the Kansas City Chiefs, but it could be an interesting one just determining in terms of how healthy they're going to be and how Kevin Stefanski is able to bounce back and kind of rally the troops.
When Tua was released by the Dolphins had to take on a record $99.2 million in dead money.
Dead money. Oh, they're paying him.
Unbelievable.
You know, I would take $99 million to not play quarterback for the Miami Dolphins.
It's unbelievable how the 2 quarterbacks who are so extremely fragile and both left-handed, as you said, are on the same. I think Dylan Gabriel is the only other left-handed pitcher, right? That is a starter or potential starter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I say pitcher? Baseball on the mind. But yeah, I can't think of another.
I can't think of another either.
Yeah, I don't know. Very strange, but I wouldn't be confident if I were a Falcons fan going in knowing those are your 2 quarterbacks. They're unbelievably fragile and not healthy as is.
Yeah.
No idea what to expect. But again, they think they'll get about 7 wins this season, the Atlanta Falcons. Got to be a game, as we said yesterday with the Jets, that the Chiefs win. Big shout out to Elijah Schmidt and Trey Myers again behind the cameras. Thank you to them for getting us on air. For Dan Courtwright, Sean Kellerman saying, make sure you join us tomorrow. It'll be another fun Friday show here on Rock Chalk Sports. Thanks to everybody who's been listening on ESPN Kansas City and watching KansasNation.com.